Welcome to This Week in Sports Betting, Season 2, Episode 2. This is the NFL Preview. BP311, Bo Dunn for the first time, and Matt Kowalish returns. Matt from Detroit Sports Bettors. Bo Dunn from BC Wins on YouTube. He's got his own Facebook page. You still doing that podcast, Bo?
Yeah, it's on anywhere you get your podcast, man. Yes, sir.
Good to have you guys on. We're going to talk some football. Before we get into the NFL, Nikolai Dolcetto wanted to come on. He couldn't make it. And he was having some issues with his AirPods last week, so he wanted to give out his college football play. Nebraska minus 6.5 in the first half this weekend against Northwestern. So,
okay.
Anybody got anything non-NFL they want to cover before we go into the NFL?
Nah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm strictly NFL right now. Unless there's no UFC card this week, or I'd be on the UFC, but they're taking a week off. So I'm strictly NFL right now.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you want to start with some futures? I got a lot of futures. Who else has some futures as far as a Super Bowl winner this season? Anybody?
I can give a Super Bowl future as well, for sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's do it. So my Super Bowl future is definitely a little bit different than most, I would say. I'm one that I like to kind of come middle of the pack in terms of odds. And there is a huge question mark with this team, and the question mark is Trey Lance. So you already know I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm absolutely in love with this defense, with Nick Bosa on the outside. You know, he's just an absolute force. Early in camp, it's been showing that a lot of offensive tackles or, offensive linemen of all sorts have been having a ton of trouble with him once again. And then for me, looking at Trey Lance, when you take a look at this San Francisco 49ers team, they have many things already in place that can help him going forward. Number one being that run game. The San Francisco 49ers have one of the best run games in all of football. They can rely on Elijah Mitchell, rookie who was in their last year. And then in addition to that, Trey Lance is a dual threat quarterback. I think things are made a little bit easier when you can get outside the pocket with your legs. And when you have a run game already established, that's only going to help it going forward. So I think Trey Lance can stick that football out, bring it back, get to the outside, and then he has two decisions to make. He can make the throw, or he can pick up some yards with his legs. And then another thing that I think is a bonus for that of Trey Lance is head coach Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has worked with dual threat quarterbacks in the past. When you take a look at RG3's best years as a quarterback, obviously before that injury, but his best years as a quarterback were with Kyle Shanahan as the coach. And in addition to that, when you have dual threat quarterbacks, they are generally their best within their first couple years because defenses cannot scheme for them. Trey Lance is going to be brand new to all of these defenses. They're not going to know what to expect from him. So I think that question mark or a little bit of the unknown actually benefits the San Francisco 49ers and actually benefits Trey Lance here. In addition to that, we got Deebo Samuel coming back, one of the best dual threat wideouts. You can bring him in the backfield, swing passes, whatever you like. Brandon Ayuk is starting to come along. And then, of course, if Kittle can stay healthy for the entire season, he is a huge weapon for Trey Lance. So, again, I like the San Francisco 49ers at plus 1,400, kind of one of those middle-of-the-pack teams. That's my preseason Super Bowl choice.
So do you think they're going to take a step forward rather than a step back? But from Garoppolo to Trey Lance.
So I personally do. Again, like when I was talking about the defense, I think he can rely on this defense a little more. Early in the season, it might take a second because you got to gel with everyone, Deebo, Ayuk, Kittle. It might take a second for things to come together. But when you have a defense like that of the San Francisco 49ers, you're going to be in games. You're not going to get blown out. It'll generally be probably within 7 to 10 points if they are, in fact, losing. Then I take a look at someone like the LA Rams. I think that with Matthew Stafford and what's going on with his injury, you got to think about that going forward. Yeah, elbow injuries are very serious for quarterbacks. I have the Arizona Cardinals actually regressing this year. Their first 6 games is their toughest stretch of the schedule. They're doing that without DeAndre Hopkins, so I think they're going to take a step back in addition to that. And because of that, I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to take that step forward. We all know what the Seattle Seahawks are doing. They should definitely sweep the Seahawks. So again, bare minimum within this division, I think they go 4-2. And then with a defense like that, you're going to be in games. You got a dual threat quarterback. You got a ton of weapons. I really love the outlook of the San Francisco 49ers this year.
I just wish I knew what the number was when I took most of my futures back in February. Bo, you got something to say regarding the 49ers or a future?
Nah, man. That was yeah. I like the 40. I think that Trey Lance is gonna do great. And looking, you got me thinking about that breakdown. So, nice.
Hey, and it's a good plus money play too. Even the over under win total is 10.5. And I do think it's going to be close in terms of the win total. You know, this is just a team that needs to get in the playoffs. I don't care if it's wild card, divisional round, whatever it may be. They're just a scary team in the playoffs. But you are getting plus money. It's plus 140 for the over 10.5 wins. So for them to go 11-6, you know, it's plus money, plus 140. So again, getting pretty good odds there to win the division. It's plus 200, and I think it's starting to creep down with the Matthew Stafford elbow news. So again, this is something that you're going to want to get earlier rather than later. If more news comes out in regards to Matthew Stafford and the severity of that injury, this line is going to go down, and so you kind of probably want to jump on it early if you can, if you like it.
Yeah, I like the way you took the tier system. You took them to win the division, the conference, and then potentially to win it all. And that's a team that I did that with is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the numbers are way different on them than it was at draft time. And I did it at draft time because when they picked up A.J. Brown, that's when I thought, okay, now they got a chance to do something. Because Jalen Hurts is a great dual threat quarterback. He's young as well, third season, right? And he's really coming along. They made the playoffs last year. A.J. Brown is really taken to that next step, in my opinion. Plus, they beefed up the offensive line. The Eagles back in February were 50 times your money to win the Super Bowl. Now, 25 times. The Eagles back then in conference play, to win the conference was 20 times. Now it's 11 times, and then to win the division, plus 325 in February, April rather, plus 150 now.
Yeah.
If this mic, I think I'm echoing on somebody's feed, so I don't think I need the microphone. Can you guys hear me fine without it?
Yeah, it's a little low, but I can hear you.
All right, I'll just turn it lower. On somebody's feed, so I don't want to. All right.
Hopefully it's not mine. I'm not sure. But I do love that Eagles pick. The Eagles pick is one of my favorite picks coming into the 2022 season. Like you said, they've improved. They improved that offensive line, bringing in A.J. Brown. And a lot of people don't even realize, like you said, in terms of their offensive line, they have one of the best offensive lines throughout the NFL and one of the best defensive lines throughout the NFL. And down the stretch, when you're playing in the NFC, some of those outdoor stadiums, you want those guys in the trenches. And then Jalen Hurts, like you said, dual threat quarterback, can get outside. Devonta Smith can take that next step forward, especially with A.J. Brown getting more coverage, maybe some double teams. And then Dallas Goedert's real solid as well. And then that defense is definitely one that you don't want to mess with. That division isn't very strong. So I actually think, to add to what you said, the best regular season record for the Philadelphia Eagles is plus 2,000. Okay, I think that's pretty damn good odds, given the fact that this team also has the 30th toughest schedule in the entire NFL. So
that's easier than the Lions.
Yeah,
because they're 28.
I love that Eagles pick. 9.5 wins. It's minus 125. At least that's what I saw it as. Again, good odds, man.
Bo, what do you think about the Eagles, considering the fact they're in the same division as your Dallas Cowboys?
I like the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to money, I have no bias. But that running game, that really kind of took off for them. I think they're going to stick to A.J. Brown. That's really open it up, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really liking the Eagles look, even though Dallas is my team. I think that we may possibly, but I think it's going to be the Dallas or the Eagles. So, yeah, I love that over 9 in Action Commanders is going to be still like a rebuild mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the season. So I think those are going to be two teams, division that we don't have to worry about. It's going to be either Dallas or the Eagles, but 9.5 wins. I like that. You know what I'm that's a great bet for the futures. You know what I'm saying? Eagles, even though I am it's about that bread, right?
For sure. I took a lot of these, like I said, I took a lot of these back in February. A couple of them I took in April. I took the Bills at plus 750. They're sitting at plus 600 now. They're the outright favorite. They kind of got screwed the last 2 years in overtime, losing to the Chiefs. Now they've changed the overtime format, so that'll change things this year. Josh Allen's hungry and he's after it. I took the Chargers, and I think that's my favorite play. I think Justin Herbert's probably the best young quarterback as far as a pocket passer is concerned in the NFL right now. I got them at 18 times your money. It's now at 14 times your money.
Nice.
The Bengals are they're gonna strive to go back to that Super Bowl, and they were 22 times. Now they're 20 times. I took that as well. The Rams pick is one that I look at as a mistake, but I didn't know about the Stafford injury. I didn't know about the elbow. You didn't know if OBJ was going to stick around or not. I took him at 13 times. They're now at 11 times, so the odds are still better than what they are now. The one that really hurts me is the Titans. Took it at 18 times your money. Now you're looking at 40 times your money with no A.J. Brown and an interception-ridden quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. And a team that I root for, quite frankly, in the AFC. But unfortunately, it just doesn't look good for him this year.
Yeah, even with Treylon Burks coming on, he's, you're hearing a lot of good things about him in regards to what he's doing in camp. Robert Woods is now kind of their slot guy. Who knows what you're exactly going to get from him after his injury. So, yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot riding on Ryan Tannehill and especially Derrick Henry. You kind of know what you're going to get out of Derrick Henry every single year, but you do need some weapons to help separate it, get the play action pass going a little bit more. So, yeah, I do agree. I think they dropped off a bit after A.J. Brown went to Philly.
I don't think it hurt us that Julio's gone, but it hurt us that A.J. Brown is gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Big way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So we'll see what they can do.
Hey,
That's
man,
it for me.
I'm going to tell you what team I'm loving this season. Baltimore Ravens. Kind of do like Mike did. I got them winning their division plus 300. I got that also, man, at plus money. And I got that at plus 20. And this is my long shot right here. I got them at 1,800, plus 1,800. They deal with a lot of injuries straight out the box. But I think they're going to be healthy this year. Coach, man, like Harbaugh. I think Jackson's going to step up as far as it comes to pass on his legs. And I just feel like they're going to be a healthier team. And been pretty good last year, even throughout the injuries. Now, I'm not good with a lot of names, but it gets down. So I'm taking them to win their division. I think them Cincinnati is the division. And I do think Cincinnati will try to get back to the Super Bowl. But I'm loving the Ravens 300 to win the division. I'm taking them over 10 wins. Got that at plus 120. Oh, man, at plus 1,800. Now, my long shot, my favorite for the Super Bowl, the Buffalo Bills, man. I think Josh Allen going to take it to the next level. They got the caliber linebacker that went to them. So, yeah, I think they're going to own their division. And I just like for them. I think at their time, man. I think Josh Allen can take a team there. I think they will make it past the Chiefs, who got rid of ones in the game, man, with Tyreek. So I think that Josh Allen, I took them at plus 600. So those, I think the championship gonna be one to do. I know that we got some great teams in the NFC. It's gonna be AFC. So I took the Bills. That's my favorite play. My long shot is I got the Ravens to win the division over 10 wins, and I also got another team. I like the Miami Dolphins, man. Over 8.5 wins. I got that little 5. But like I said, man, with Tyreek Hill going to his team, I think he's gonna step up this year, man. I know he's been up and down since he came from college. Up this year, they got the offensive coordinator from San Francisco 49ers, Deebo Samuel back in the backfield. So he he's the coordinator for the team, and I'm loving the Dolphins, man. Over 8.5, I think that's really too low. I got that. Those are my best futures, man, this year for the NFL. Without the
I think with the Ravens plus 300, that's a value play from the win of the division. That's a good number. You know, if you're betting a number, I would probably take that. I do think it's Cincinnati, but we'll see what happens. As far as Miami, I'm concerned, there's too many unknown factors. New coach. Yes, you've added Tyreek Hill. What can Tua actually do? It's a big question mark. He's got all the weapons around him this year. If he's ever going to make it work, this is the year to do it. And as far as Baltimore, on the other hand, Lamar's got a window as a rushing quarterback who runs the ball all the time. His window's closing. So if he's going to do something, he's running out of time to do it.
Step it up this year, man. I say last year, man, just got so many preseason. Dobbins went down, ACL.
Yeah.
You know, just a bunch of I think with them being healthy. And even though they had them injured last year, they still had 9. I think so. When them being healthy, I think they'll get it done this year.
I mean, yeah, they still have a great defense. Like even for myself, I went with so both teams. I'll say this: both the Ravens and Cincinnati, I had going over their win total, and I was going back and forth with Ravens and Cincinnati who to win the division, and I ended up going Cincinnati just for like the pure fact that when I made the bet, Cincinnati was the value play. I got Cincinnati at plus 220 to win that division. So Baltimore had come back down, but like you were saying, everyone is healthy with Baltimore finally. J.K. Dobbins, I think he's in line to have a really good season. And then, of course, we're talking about this Baltimore Ravens defense where, you know, one of the best defensive lines in all the NFL with Michael Pierce and Calais Campbell. And then on the back end in the secondary, we have Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey, 2 of the top cornerbacks throughout the NFL. They have Marcus Williams, and then they also added Kyle Hamilton, so we'll see how he does. So I'm with you, Bo. I'm pretty optimistic about the Ravens this year. I think they're a team that a lot of people really won't want to play, and they have a far, far easier strength of schedule in comparison to the Bengals. The Baltimore Ravens have the 23rd toughest strength of schedule. The Bengals have the 3rd toughest.
Makes sense. And right now, you guys both probably got good numbers compared to what I'm seeing now. Ravens plus 145, Bengals plus 175, Browns plus 375, and Steelers at plus 9.
Yeah, I only took the Bengals like probably a month ago too. Like, so it's been
number was still much better. They get the lines early and often. And some people will say that they'd rather trade information for value. That's what my boy Tanner Kern likes to say. He's holding off on all these bets because it's still preseason. People could still get hurt. Things could still change. And I understand that.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, I'm the other way around. I will take value over information every single time because the number, half the time I'm betting a number more than I'm betting a team.
Oh, bro. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I'm the same way. Like I won't take many player props, like strict player props because of injuries. Like I'll take some MVPs, maybe an offensive player of the year, something like that. But in terms of teams, like, yeah, stuff happens and like there are quarterback injuries. But in many positions and stuff, they get hurt, you can still replace them. Don't get me wrong, injuries do happen that are essentially irreplaceable. But if you're betting team over unders, like you said, if I see a juicy line or something that I see value in preseason, I'm jumping on that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yes. It's all about getting the best number, man. When you wait, you know, be late game. You know, you can't really predict already who's gonna be healthy. You just got to get that best number. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's all. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I got it. You said it went almost halfway down from where I got it from. I'm gonna win the video.
Yeah. No, 100%. One thing that I would add to as well is like even for myself when taking MVP bets, like earlier, this was months ago, but I took Trey Lance at plus 6,000. Now he's plus 2,500, and that was more of a numbers play than anything. Do I think Trey Lance is the top guy to win the MVP? No, I don't. But he was plus 6,000. He has great odds if he gets on a run and the 49ers start winning and he does some things with his legs, yeah, I think he could have a chance. So I took that at odds, and it was kind of the same thing. This is NBA, but Nashawn Highland or Bones Highland from the Denver Nuggets. Right when Monty Morris got traded and Will Barton got traded, what did I do? I went and looked up Bones Highland, 6th man of the year. At that point in time, he was plus 5,500. I snagged him. Now he's plus 1,400. So you can find those odds if you know those spots. Like, again, Will Barton, a ton of minutes coming off I know we're talking basketball, but Will Barton, ton of minutes off the bench. Monte Morris, ton of minutes off the bench. That has to be replaced. So, again, take a look at Bones Highland. You find value there.
It's all good information. We're going to actually have an NBA preview show in October that I hope both of you guys make it to. I want to address the comment. We got a comment from Pringle. He says, "What's up, BP and BC? Good to see you all."
Hey, what's going on?
Go say hi to Pringle.
Mhm.
All right, I got a few more futures to run down, and these are division futures. We already talked about the Eagles. I took the Titans at plus 170. Line's about the same. I took that recently. Plus 175 is current, so it's actually a little bit better now. I see the AFC South as kind of a weaker division. I don't think Matt Ryan's got a whole lot left in the tank. I know the Chargers are being hyped up as the leader to take that division. I love what Jonathan Taylor's doing, but you compare him to Derrick Henry, and if Henry can stay healthy, that's what it's basically about. It's the division of the running backs, right? And I think the Titans have just as good a chance to win the division as the Colts do, and they have a way better line, so I took it. Plus, I'm a Titans fan, so there's that. Thoughts on the AFC South?
Yeah. I mean, Matt Ryan. It's not Matty Ice no more, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand the trade that the coach got him for. I don't understand why, but maybe I didn't see. But yeah, I think that in that division, it may. I don't really like Jameis Winston for the North. It got to be the Titans and nothing for me in that division.
Yeah, it's a minus line on the Indianapolis Colts, and it's a plus line on the Titans as a second favorite. So I took that one, and I took the Chargers at plus 210. It's moved up a hair to plus 225. Everybody says it's the Chiefs' division to lose, and it is. I just think they may regress a bit. I think this might be a year where Patrick Mahomes could win the MVP because you're supposed to base that off regular season solely anyway, right? But they may still lose in the first round of the playoffs or the second round if they don't, I don't know if they're going to win this division. I think the Chargers have a lot to prove. I think with 4,000 yards and however many touchdowns he threw and all the fourth down conversions they completed last season, that's what scares me about him, to be honest. That's the only thing that scares me is the coach, the statistics guy with his glasses daily. But otherwise, the talent's there for the Chargers to be a threat to win the ring. And I took them to win the ring, but I was going to win the division.
I love the Chargers, man. That's I got them as one of my. But
yeah,
nobody's really talking about Denver, man. Now, I know I can't come in and make an instant impact, but I think he will, man. They already have the weapons, the defense. I think Denver's gonna be a nice little look. So I took a free just with in the NFC. So I like Denver a lot. I think Russell gonna come in and make that division right there, man, is really tough. With the Broncos, the Rams, and man, I think that's like the toughest division to me.
Yeah, and in terms of like pure talent across the NFL or the history of the NFL, this is, in my eyes, one of the best divisions all time. And I'm with you. I have the Chargers winning this division. I do, and I think it's good odds at plus 225. Once again, early preseason, what I do is I break down every single team. I give bet odds. I give my thoughts. I do a record prediction. And when breaking down every single roster, I actually had the Chargers having the second best roster, only behind the Buffalo Bills. I mean, when you look at them on offense, they have Justin Herbert, who's, a plus 1,000 MVP candidate. He's coming off a 38 touchdown season with 5,000 yards passing. He can get outside the pocket with his legs in addition to that. And then all of his weapons are coming back. Mike Williams, a 6'4", big-bodied receiver who can stretch the field. Keenan Allen, one of the better route runners throughout the NFL, has great hands, never drops a football. Austin Eckler out of the backfield, always a mismatch for linebacker. And they also brought in Gerald Everett, who is the tight end for the LA Rams, who's more of a receiving style tight end anyways. And then the biggest Achilles heel for this Chargers team was their run defense. It was absolutely pitiful. They were dead last in the NFL. So that was what I wanted to kind of see them shore up this year. And they brought in Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson, who are some of the better defensive tackles. They brought in Khalil Mack to go along with Joey Bosa. So they have two of the top edge rushers. And then they have J.C. Jackson, Derwin James, and Asante Samuel now at cornerback. So they really are stacked and loaded all over. It's really going to come down to Justin Herbert, who's fully capable. He's incredibly talented. He has all the weapons. So now it's like, can he do this? Can he put it together? And I'd also say that Justin Herbert plus 1,000 odds for MVP are great odds because the Kansas City Chiefs have won this division 6 years in a row. If the Chargers can win this division, that's all the narrative you need to give Justin Herbert that MVP.
10 times your money. I might have to think about that myself.
His most touchdown passes is plus 6.
The Chargers are going to be a tough team, man.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to watch them.
Yeah, I'm ready to see them go, man. That's going to be a tough team this year. Especially with Mac, that's going to be.
Oh, my gosh. Bosa and Matt coming off the edge, and then you got J.C. Jackson, Samuel, and Derwin James in the secondary. Are you kidding me? That's pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Definitely big on the Chargers. So if Terry was here, I'd have him talk about the Colts. I'm not even sure what their win total is. I'll have to look at that real quick here. But I can tell you, Bo, your Cowboys win total set at 10. So what are you thinking if you had, gun to your head, had to take a pick over under 10 for Dallas this year?
Hey, man, we got it. So, you know what I'm saying? I would take it over 10. You know what I'm saying? At worst, I think, you know what I'm saying, we don't have to worry about that half. At 10.5, so I say, man, the Giants not gonna be good, So yeah, I think that Philly and Dallas gonna pretty. So if they can get their division wins, which they should, I think they'll get 10. I gotta rock with the Cowboys. I cannot rock with the Cowboys. So yeah, man. Might be checking in with you a little bit later on, be about them Eagles, man. We might do a little head up action. I'm thinking about it, man. We can PayPal bet on that game.
That's one of my favorites, man. The Eagles.
So Dallas over 10 is plus 100. Under 10 is minus 120. I don't know what's going on. Oh, I have no idea what's going on. It sounds crazy.
I think it's something low.
Yeah. If we can bring you back in, we will. I'll give you a minute. Figure it out.
I muted my mic.
I don't see anything on his either. So
all right, well, come back.
Hopefully we can get him back. In the meantime, yeah, Dallas plus 100 over 10, minus 120 under. Personally, I'd lean under. That's just me. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, the Cowboys are a pass, but
yeah, I'd pass.
Yeah, they're just a team that I don't mess with too much, if I'm being honest. I think 10, just with their strength of schedule, it's very low. They still do have weapons. Someone who I am interested in watching this year is, for one, CeeDee Lamb. I'm seeing how he can take a step forward if he can be that number one guy. Dalton Schultz is still one of the better pass-catching tight ends. Then someone I'm interested in seeing is actually Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, they said they're going to start using him out of the slot this year as well. So he's going to be more of a dual threat guy. So I do think he's an interesting pick, even if you don't want to bet him, then maybe fantasy. He's a late fantasy guy, so I think that's kind of interesting. But again, for me, this Cowboys team is a pass. I think a lot of these guys are just they're just shiny objects that don't end up doing that much. Like Trayvon Diggs, to me, he's not the corner that a lot of people build him up to be. I do think he's talented. I think he can get you some turnovers, but he's one of those guys who he tries to jump every single route, so he ends up getting burned because of it. And then he ends up putting his team in trouble, and he's given up the most yards per catch and things like that. So, again, it's kind of how this Cowboys team is just in general. It's like hype, and then you get burned. You know what I mean? So that's just how I am with the Cowboys. I like this Eagles team. honestly too much. I think there's too much value in this Eagles team to even mess around with the Cowboys. So
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's a pass for me.
Pringle says he likes the under 37 in the Cowboys game tonight. I'm not big on betting preseason, but I'll glance at it. Let's see. We've got Cowboys and Seahawks. Looks like I'm looking at 37.5, but it moved up a hair. I don't know what to say. It's preseason.
Yeah, and that's one thing that like I'm getting accustomed to because like I'm doing stuff with Sports Memo now, and all the handicappers there are so in tune with NFL preseason. I'm over here like NFL futures, NFL futures, NFL futures. But I get it too. Like you got to understand the depth of teams. You got to understand what quarterbacks can make throws for certain teams. So there are angles and there are advantages. So I do understand why people bet it. And honestly, myself, I probably need to get into it a little more. But when the UFC cards are going on and stuff like that, I'm trying to dive into those as well. So it makes it a little difficult.
I'm still betting baseball, and the only preseason game that I bet on was the Lions when I went to the game, just because I was at the game.
Yeah, I feel that.
Plus 100, and then they lost it at the last second. But
I mean, honestly, Pringle, it's Friday night. After this, I'm going to dinner. I'm going to come back. I might just throw a bet down because that's what I'm going to be doing. You know, so I appreciate you putting that in there.
There we go. All right, so we're going to touch on the Colts to Lions in week 1 before we get out of here. Last thing I want to say is win total. I took Chargers over 10.5 wins at plus 110. We've been giving the Chargers love all day, so I'm not sure we have to elaborate much on that.
And there's two teams I wanted to go over real quick, and because generally, like when you talk futures, a lot of the time you're going to hear a lot of overs, which is what you've heard from me as well. But one thing I want to say is do not be scared to take a couple unders because there are 2 teams that I absolutely love their unders. One is the Atlanta Falcons, and that's at 4.5. So I know that's a scary number. And then the Seattle Seahawks, which when I took it was at 6.5. So and I'm sure it's kind of come down now. But there are 2 teams with win totals of 6.5 or lower, and they are in the top 10 in most difficult schedules. That is the Atlanta Falcons, and that is the Seattle Seahawks. In addition to that, when taking team unders, one thing that I think you need to look at and keep an eye on when looking at that schedule is end of year. End of year, do they want to win games? Because you want to have that early pick to try and get that quarterback, okay? We know the Seattle Seahawks are like that. The Atlanta Falcons, maybe, it's kind of up in the air with Ritter. But again, still not going to want to win towards the end of the season. You're going to want that higher draft pick. So again, with the Seattle Seahawks, they're facing the Rams at the end of the year. They're facing the 49ers at the end of the year. Very tough schedule, towards the end of that NFL season. Their quarterbacks are Geno Smith and Drew Lock. Don't think they're going to want them going forward. They're going to want that quarterback.
Division. And they're in a tough division.
So if there was one under that I loved of any team, it's the Seattle Seahawks followed by the Atlanta Falcons because roster build up top to bottom. Atlanta is easily bottom 3 in every single category. Offensive line, running backs, God forbid. Wide receivers, Calvin Ridley's out for the year as well. So much pressure on Pitts, those are my 2 squads going under. I just think they're rough.
Last year, I took the Giants under, the Lions under, and the Rams over, and I won all 3. I do love the Seahawks under. The only reason I can't lock in myself personally on the Falcons is I get a little bit too much respect from Marcus Mariota as a Titans fan.
Okay.
I think he's very dynamic.
He's actually been looking pretty good. Yeah, he's actually been looking solid, yeah.
And if that doesn't work out, I think I like what I've seen with Desmond Ridder because I was there live and watched these guys play. And Ridder looks very dynamic, too, as the dual threat guy. Jeff Morton comes in. Hi, guys. Great content. I personally don't have the patience to bet and wait all season on futures. I get it. It's a risk-free loan to the sports specs, but I can't help myself. The numbers are too good. I have to do it. Just want to shout out to VP with his red hot picks on the diamond. Glad you're back, Bo. And
what's up, Jeff?
Great as well. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Pringle, for both of you joining us and both of you commenting as well. Quickly on the Colts, because TJ Salt Dog's my co-host normally, and he's not here today. Their over-under is also 10. I think it's way too inflated. Both sides are minus 110. I would definitely jump on the under if I had to take a side there. Love Jonathan Taylor. Don't have a lot of respect for Matt Ryan at this point in his career. The Lions, I think Matt talked about it on his show. I've talked about it, well, at least in the comments. I can't do it. I think that their win total this year is 6 games. I could see them getting a 7th. It's questionable. but I would lock in on a 6. With a 6.5 as the number, I would probably lean the under. Matt thinks the over, right?
Yeah. With this Lions team, I definitely do like the over. You know, we have one of the easiest strength of schedules in the entire NFL. My biggest worry is definitely the defense. I think we're going to give up a lot of points this year, personally. You know, we've made some good additions with obviously drafting Aiden Hutchinson. Romeo Okwara does come back from injury. Hopefully he can stay healthy because he was someone who I believe had 9 sacks 2 years ago. Brought in Mike Hughes, you know, another solid cornerback. But again, in
linebacking core is just not there.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I've gotten as well. Because I hear people talking playoffs and this and that. And I never got on board with that. I was more like, you know, a lot of it when taking win totals, it's like you're picking one more game over than what it's set at, you know? And that's really where I'm at with this Lions team. I have them going 7-10. You know, I think we do have a very good offensive line. And if we can get this run game to where I think it can be, we might be able to control the clock fairly well. And then in addition to that, we brought in DJ Chark to go along with Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have TJ Hawkinson. Hopefully Jameson Williams slides in around mid-season. And when you have weapons like that, I am a believer in Jared Goff, not like in the future, long-term. I'm saying I'm a believer in this season that he won't make enough mistakes to essentially ruin the win total. That's all I'm saying. So I do think he can do enough to keep this team competitive, to keep us in games. And as for this defense, you know, it's kind of a wait and see. You gotta just see how they play, honestly. But I do have this Lions team finishing 7-10 or 7-10. I think Dan Campbell, actually Coach of the Year, is actually an interesting bet because if in fact this Lions team does go over this win total or maybe even creeps to around 8 and 9 and somehow flirts with the playoffs, because of Hard Knocks and how many people are behind this Detroit Lions team, I think he could have a chance to bring home that hardware. And then in addition to that, the Detroit Lions over-under win total is the most bet on future of the entire 2022 offseason. So
I'm the only one that didn't bet on it?
I know. Exactly. So because of that, if that does hit, then that much more light is shed on head coach Dan Campbell, kind of setting him up for a potential Coach of the Year.
So Pringle says he likes the Seahawks under 5.5, which is even better of a number, probably. Let's see here. That's only plus 110, but you know, it's plus money for that.
I think that's a great bet. Honestly, like 5.5, you're getting plus money on that. Because when I took it, I was at 6 or 6.5, and I was getting it at like minus 135, minus 140. So I would still, me personally, I would go a game lower. I think I had them finishing 4-13. So that's
yeah. It looks like it's moved to 5.5. This book, particularly Bet River Sugar House, won't even let me take 6.5 at all. You can take 7.5 or 4.5 or 5.5, but you can't take 6.5.
Yeah, and when you look at that division, you know, you got the San Francisco 49ers who should sweep the Seahawks, the LA Rams who should sweep the Seahawks. Only one I'm iffy about is the Arizona Cardinals. I'm opposite on a lot of people with Arizona this year. I think Arizona's honestly going to suck. I really do. I mean, losing Chandler Jones is a huge guy to lose, one of your best edge rushers. Then, in addition to that, their toughest stretch of schedule is the beginning of the year throughout those first 6 games. First 6 games without DeAndre Hopkins. So I think that's a huge person to miss throughout that stretch. And then after Kyler Murray, week 8 and beyond, okay, since he has entered the league, is 9-24. 9-24 from week 8 and beyond. So not a good record after that. So it's very key for this team to win early in the season. So because
like
of that,
they went 6-0 last year, right, in the first 6 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Kyler, I don't know where his head's at these days, but
I think he's a bum, honestly.
Yeah. Quick note: my fantasy draft's tomorrow night, and my first pick's Derrick Henry. Jeff Morton says I do have one future, and it's on the Titans to win the AFC. Had a free bet, had to use it on football, so hoping for a winner. I'm rooting for you, Jeff. I'm always a Titans fan, so I'm rooting for the Titans too. I think they can win the AFC South. I don't know if they can win the AFC outright. You got the Buffalo Bills there, and that's what really scares me. The Chargers and every other team in the AFC West is going to have a hard time enough competing with one another. I don't think any of the teams are actually going to end up number 1. So
Bills are
good. Probably going to come from, you know, the East or the South, in my opinion. I think the North and the West and the AFC are both too competitive to have somebody win enough games to win the whole thing, AFC-wise, and go in that number 1 slot, get the bye.
Yeah.
Love the Titans, though. Root for the Titans every single year. I wanted to move to Nashville a few years ago. It just didn't work out for me. But
Yeah, I agree.
anyway, all right, week one before we both got to get out of here because I got to leave about 10 minutes from now anyway, too. I know you got to get somewhere, too. So we're both running out the door here. Let's try to wrap this thing up with week one. I got 3 picks for week one, 2 straights, 1 parlay. I don't know if you want to try to run through the games, but it might take a little too long. I don't know.
I have 2 that I've done on Sports Memo, so I can kind of go over those again, too.
We kicked it off with the Bills and the Rams and a 2.5-point spread for Buffalo. I'm not touching this game. Are you?
I'm not touching it, but there's something in me that just makes me like Buffalo here. I don't know. Like, honestly, it's going to be the season opener. I'm definitely going to bet it. I'll say that right now. But I'm betting it because it's the season opener and I'm a degenerate.
Not because it's the best play.
Yes.
Or the best game to bet on, but because it's the season opener.
I think I'm going to be going Buffalo, though. I really do. I think there is something to Matthew
They are
Stafford
so much hungrier.
And his elbow injury. Von Miller is a huge addition, especially for this Bills team, because if they did have a weakness, year after year, this team has been very good. But Patrick Mahomes always ends up beating them because they can't get to him. They just can't. Now they have someone like Von Miller, who's one of the better pass rushing specialists of our time. He can create turnovers. He can create pressure and just havoc around the pocket. So I think that is a huge addition, especially when you got a cornerback like Tre'Davious White back there. I really do like this Bills team, top to bottom. They're just stacked. And then Gabriel Davis, the number 2 wideout for the Buffalo Bills, had 4 touchdowns, 200 yards, and 8 receptions in that AFC divisional round against the Chiefs. He could be very due for a breakout season. If, in fact, he breaks out, you know who's coming with him? Josh Allen. And Josh Allen is going to be trending right towards that MVP award. And that's why he's the favorite. I can't even argue it. I hate taking the favorite in terms of
Sometimes
MVP.
you get teams in certain years that are, built up and hyped up like the Brooklyn Nets that are the favorite in a league. And probably shouldn't be based on real, true talent and depth of the actual roster. The Buffalo Bills actually deserve to be favorited.
They do.
And they are. Okay, you got the Eagles and the Lions week one, and I put the Eagles in my parlay at minus 190 money line.
I'm with you there. I would take Eagles straight up. I would take Eagles spread. I honestly think this is a trap spot for the Lions, especially with everything that's been going on with Hard Knocks, especially with all of the hype that has been around Detroit. And, just because of, I think people really get behind Dan Campbell. I think a lot of people are excited about the rookies, the HBO special, a little bit of everything. But all of that is good for a very, very hungry Eagles team. They don't have any weaknesses, in all honesty. Their line be a little bit better, but they have a great offensive line. They have a great defensive line. They have a great secondary. This is going to be a very tough team. And then on top of that, you can do everything right. And when you have a quarterback who can get outside the pocket and extend the play, it just changes things. And that's what Jalen Hurts can do.
We talked about it all night. DGens Network, says Jeff Morton. LOL, it's only a problem if you lose, right? Way to own it, Matt. Hell, I'll own it too.
Hey, but I'll always tell you too, I'll tell you, these are my top 5, and then these are the games that I'm just
these
going to
bet. These are the DGen picks.
Yeah. This is when you go 0-2 in your first 2, and there's one game left in the night. That's my DGen pick.
Degeneration X. There we go. Falcons and Saints, and the Saints are favored by 5. That's probably about right. Mm-hmm. The Saints should cover, right?
I'd be on Saints there. That defense is, it's still going to be a top 5 defense probably this year. They're still tough as hell, and a team like the Falcons is probably going to have some trouble moving the ball on them.
Ravens minus 6.5 against the Jets. I would take the Ravens to cover that as well. I'm not on these games, by the way. I'm just throwing out leans at this point.
No, I hear you. Where's that at? Is that in New York?
It's in New York.
I'd have to think about that one, actually.
Okay.
I'm going to skip ahead. Pass. But there's every year I look up the statistic, and it's when the home team is getting 6 points or more, they cover 65% of the time. So sometimes I just close my eyes and just click the home team.
I can't do that.
Hey, I'm telling you, it works a lot of times because I'm a statistics guy as well. So if the stats line up right, sometimes I just roll with it, and I just don't
two of my straights are minus 6.5 bets for week one. We just haven't got there quite yet. And here's the first one. Bengals minus 6.5 against the Steelers, and that's my straight. I just think the Bengals are a better team. I don't trust Mitchell Trubisky to be a good quarterback. He comes from the Chicago Bears lineage, which is like the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion, right now, besides the Houston Texans, maybe. I just think the Steelers are in trouble now. Their coach can be as good as he wants. If he doesn't have the talent, they're not going to get anything done.
No, I totally agree with you here. The biggest weakness for the Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, we're talking about the Bills so much. For the Bengals last year was that offensive line. They gave up 70 sacks, including the postseason, third most all time. So if there was an advantage for Pittsburgh, it was there. This offseason, the Cincinnati Bengals shored up that offensive line. They brought in Ted Karras, Alex Kappa from the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then most importantly, Lyle Collins, one of the better offensive tackles throughout the NFL. So you would think this offensive line is going to be improved, which in turn is an even better Joe Burrow, an even better Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and then Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon had one of the better seasons of his entire career last year, and now he's probably got the best offensive line he's ever had. So I'm with you there.
Okay, trying to run through these quick because I know we're both running out of time rapidly. Dolphins minus 2.5 against the Patriots. That's a tough one for me. I have to lay off. I can't even give a lean there.
I like Dolphins there, actually. I do. I think Patriots are going to go downhill this year, personally. I don't think they have enough weapons.
Jaguars at Commanders. Commanders are minus 3.5 on that. I would actually, if I took a bet there at all, I'd probably take the Jags money line at plus 142. I see some value in that.
I agree 100%. I would no doubt be. I actually like that one. Jags plus 3.5 is where I'd be, I think.
So 49ers and Bears is my other straight pick, but it moved. So I took it at minus 6.5 for San Francisco, which I loved, and I think the Bears are just dog shit.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Fields has got talent, but he's got no one around him to help him with it. So it's not going to work out for them. They're going to be the worst team in the NFC North, which is not that strong of a division to begin with. And like you said, the 49ers have a chance to pull it all together. And they always seem to make the playoffs, and they always fight really hard. I'm not sure what Trey Lance is going to be yet. You're a little higher on him than I am, but I don't really care because you got Kyle Shanahan, a stacked defense, and a stacked roster full of talent. Minus 7, I would still take the 49ers.
Yeah, I'd still take the minus 7 as well. I think I'm with you. I think Chicago is potentially right there with the Falcons and the Seahawks and the Texans as the worst team in the league. So I'd be nice.
This is a weird one. You got the Browns at the Panthers. Baker Mayfield starting for Carolina and a minus 1.5 for the Panthers. I don't know. I just want to watch that game. I don't even want to bet on it.
I am riding the revenge narrative in that game.
Yeah.
I will ride it. I mean,
but it's Jacoby Brissett. It's not Deshaun Watson.
No, I know that. And you got to imagine, too, you would think some of this wears on this team, like throughout the entire preseason training camp. Deshaun Watson,
the Freddie Kitchens stuff, and the Baker Mayfield stuff, and the Deshaun Watson stuff, the OBJ stuff. I mean, Cleveland's just been a mess. I think they've been more of a mess than we have.
Yeah, the Bills had something come out, too, about their punter, Matt Arias, too. So, I think they're just going to cut this kid. So I don't think it'll be a distraction. But if they let that linger, that could become a distraction over in Buffalo as well.
So many issues. Colts minus 8 against the Texans. I mean, I'm not a huge Colts guy, but Houston, I don't know. I guess I'd have to lean Colts.
Man, that's tough because that's a pass for sure.
It's a weird number. It's a weird number, and
it's a Colts team you haven't seen yet. So it's like you're just basically saying, okay, I think Matt Ryan's going to come.
I think the Texans suck. So
the Texans for sure suck. But then they just had last year too. The Texans were one of those teams where remember that was in Houston, but when they were playing the Patriots, they almost beat the Patriots, and they would just hang close randomly. So
sometimes,
yeah. It's a game that I would personally pass on if I went anywhere. It would be Colts minus 8.
I believe in Jonathan Taylor more than I do Matt Ryan. I mean, basically, he can do a canine thing and beat him on his own with 4 touchdowns.
And that defense is good enough where they should be able to hold Houston.
Yeah, Chargers minus 3.5 against the Raiders. It's a tough number. But I'm a Charger. I mean, I'm big on the Chargers this year, so I think they're going to win the game. I don't know if I'd take the spread. I'd probably just take a money line and maybe parlay it, if anything. Again, not on the game. So
yeah, Raiders are going to be a scary team to bet against this year.
Devontae Adams.
Yeah. You know, they got Chandler Jones as well, so they got another nice edge rusher to go with Max Crosby. So that's another team. That division is stacked with edge rushers. Well, everyone but Kansas City, if I'm being honest, because even Denver has great edge rushers now. So
Packers. I'm sorry, I'm running through because I'm
you're
behind
good.
people now. Packers and Vikings. I'm seeing 2.5 for Green Bay. I took Green Bay on the money line as part of that parlay with the Eagles.
Okay.
And everybody's telling me that's where I might get burned on it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm opposite with you on that one. I'm Vikings plus 2.5. I mean, I would just take Vikings money line at that, at that rate, just because at home opening the season.
Plus 110. Yeah.
So yeah, Kevin O'Connell's the head coach there now. Same guy or the offensive coordinator for the LA Rams. A lot of people are thinking like he was one of the main guys who helped develop that connection of Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, and now they're thinking it's going to go to Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. So Justin Jefferson, most receiving yards, seems like a pretty good bet this year as well.
Kirk Cousins is never going to be anything more than a mediocre quarterback in my eyes. But
no, I don't deny that.
Giants at Titans, 5.5 point spread for Tennessee. Tennessee's a minus 240. If I didn't mention it, Green Bay's a minus 125. I put all three of those together for a plus 282. It's not a great payout, but it's three teams that I think will win week one. Eagles over the Lions, Packers over the Vikings, Titans over the Giants. That's my parlay. And you can take that as an official pick. And you can give me shit if we don't hit. Because I like it too much.
Yeah. For me right now, the ones that I am leaning towards or the ones that I have discussed is the Philadelphia over the Lions. I think that was 5.5, I believe it was. Or was it 5 even?
Philly and Detroit is it's only a 4 point spread, 3.5 some places.
Oh yeah, if you can get that 3.5, I'd be all over that one. And
you can get 3.5 at FanDuel right now.
Okay, I like that. And then my other one was Miami minus 2.5. I just think that they're facing the Patriots this year. I think the Patriots are going to be incredibly run heavy. I think they're going to be very run heavy. They're going to do a lot of 2 tight end sets with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. They brought in Devontae Parker, but it's just not enough. They don't have many weapons. It's Parker, Kendrick Bourne, and Jacoby Myers. It's definitely a bottom 10 receiving core throughout the entire NFL. So I think they're going to be.
I'm not sure Max Jones can continue to be what he was because I think that they were not expecting him to be that good. And it's not that he's great. It's that he's better than everybody was expecting him to be. 3 games and we're out of here. Chiefs minus 3.5 at the Cardinals. I'm not touching that with the 10-foot pole. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. If anything, I'd be Chiefs, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if that's one I'd be touching either. Because again, I need to see Kansas City. I need to see how they gel together. There's a lot of new moving parts. It's almost a new receiving.
No Tyreek Hill, and he can't go to Kelsey every time.
Yep, Juju, Marquez Valdez-Scantling now. It's just different. Sky Moore.
I mean, McCole Hardman has to be the number 1 receiver all of a sudden. How's that going to work out? I mean, I don't know.
I got to see it.
Tampa at Dallas. It's a 1.5 point spread favoring the Buccaneers. I would actually here in a value play, if I did play this game, I would take Dallas plus 108 money line.
Yeah, I'm with you. Everything.
I think Tampa's offensive line is in shambles, and Brady didn't even want to play this year, but he got stuck. All right, if you can recap the parlay, please. I got Philly and Titans. Yeah, so it's the Philadelphia Eagles money line, Tennessee Titans money line, the Green Bay Packers money line. It's about 250 to 300 plus money on the parlay, and then my straights are 49ers minus 6.5 against the Bears and Cincinnati Bengals minus 6.5 against the Steelers. Those are my 3 official plays. We're just wrapping the schedule. We were talking Dallas and Tampa. What do you got?
I've been Dallas as well. I think everything. There's a lot of hype behind the Buccaneers going into this year. Even Tom Brady being a plus 800 MVP. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it really. I think this could be a year they regress a little bit. Like you said, the early offensive line troubles. I think there's going to not necessarily troubles. There's just been injuries. They have a lot of injuries up front, and Ted Karras got traded as well, so they have a lot of shuffling to do. And if in fact that offensive line struggles early in the year, that's Tom Brady's weakest point. That's when you get Tom Brady off his point, that's how you beat the Buccaneers. And when everything points to the Bucs, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. So I like the Cowboys.
Absolutely. Last play Sunday Night Football. I don't think there's any Monday this week, is there? Or is there? Is this Monday night? Okay, I'm sorry. Sunday night is Tampa and Dallas. Monday night is Denver Broncos -6 at the Seattle Seahawks, and I would take Denver. I would take Denver to cover, actually.
Yeah, no, I think that's one. I think that's a line that when this game actually happens, you might see this line at 7 or 7.5. So I think taking Denver as soon
jump on it
is a great move. That Seattle team is not good. If Geno Smith is your starting quarterback, like, come on. Like,
there's a problem. Actually, if Drew Lock's your starting quarterback, there's a problem.
Oh, is he starting now or is it still Geno?
I'm not sure. I think it's Geno, but either way, it's bad. You can actually grab that line right now, -5.5 over at PointsBet. Actually, me and Matt are both working for PointsBet in different capacities.
Yeah.
He's doing some videos. I'm just doing some promo stuff. Code BP311 gets you a 100% deposit bonus up to $2,000 or a 50% deposit bonus up to $20,000. I'll put the link in the comments below a little bit later. Give me an hour or so because I got to run out the door right now. Matt, what are your official picks before we roll?
So my official picks in terms of future win totals, my favorite future win totals, number 1, Philadelphia Eagles. I know a lot of people are talking about the Eagles, but this roster is great top to bottom. Over 9.5 is like -125. That's pretty good odds right there. To win the division was +175. I think it's down to around +150. And then even the best record throughout the NFL, the Eagles have that at +2,000. If you don't believe me, go look at their schedule. Like, every single game is winnable on their schedule. It really is. Their strength of schedule is 30th throughout the NFL, so I love that one. One I didn't get to talk about is the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints is one of my favorite picks. It's over 8.5 wins. This is a top 5 defense, and I like what they've done to this offense. And, Michael Thomas is coming back. Chris Olave is sliding in. Jarvis Landry as well. Alvin Kamara, no suspension. So I like this team on paper. They have a very good offense, and I would say this team is better than last year's team. And last year, I believe they went 8-9. So I think they can get one more win here. Again, I think Tampa Bay regresses a little bit, so I like the Saints. And then my favorite underplay is that Seattle Seahawks one I talked about.
Yeah, loving the picks, loving you guys. Thanks for coming on. Matt Kowales is on Detroit Sports Bettors Facebook. He's got his own YouTube, right? Or he's using Detroit Sports Bettors YouTube, and he makes some really great videos doing that. I want to thank Bo Dunn. He's on BC Wins on YouTube. Bo Dunn Wins on Facebook. He's got his own podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. I want to thank Dolcetto for that college football pick that he gave me earlier and for trying to come on. We're going to have Bo on again because he said next time we go live, he is on, he's in, he's going to be here officially. So I'll have to let you guys know when that's going to be. In the meantime, we got to get out of here because me and Matt both had plans that we're late for at this point.
Yeah, we're going to get Dolcetto on you, for sure.
Yeah, he had an issue with his AirPods last week.
That's that's what he told me.
And then the wife and kids had him held up tonight, I believe. So we'll get there. I'm trying to fill this thing with 6. That's the max I can do on here.
Cool.
For the free version of what this is. I'm trying to get 6 people every week. I'm counting. I'm reaching out to 8 or 9. Just hasn't happened yet, but we're gonna get there. We got an NHL preview coming up in October, NBA preview coming up next month. I'm probably gonna do a little check-in on the NFL and just do a pick show without all the futures, without all the hype and the previews for the league for the year. But all right, it's about 7 o'clock. I'm late. You're late. Thanks for coming on. It's been great. This is This Week in Sports Betting Season 2, Episode 2 NFL preview. Check it out. Keep it profitable. Have a great weekend.
Peace out.
See you, man.